everyone, my name is FullMetalLamps and I'm back with part 2 of my Angela guide. In this video we're specifically going to be looking at a replay of how I played the game and then talking about all the different thought processes, all the different decisions I made and why I made those decisions on Angela while also displaying uh, how you can play Angela even if there isn't maps where there are places where I can pin people off the map, right? Uh, Specifically, we're talking about Hell's Heaven. We're talking about one of the points where there is no holes for me to pin people off, and one map where there actually is a map where I can pin people off. And I still managed to get MVP. And I can tell you now, I did not win the game because I pinned a lot of people off the map. But if you want to check out more, Penny Parker and Angela content, check out my Twitch. I stream live every day at twitch.tv/FullMetalLamp and also on my YouTube as well. So just check out either one of those whenever you have the time. And yeah, let's get right into it. So here we're going to do an analysis of one of my MVP games on Hell's Heaven. Obviously, I did pretty well, 26 and 2, 4 final hits on our 4-player KO streak, 13 final hits, 13,000 damage roughly with 21,000 blocked. But the main thing you want to be looking out for what I'm doing in this game is how quickly am I engaging and disengaging from the enemy team, right? If I'm staying in for too long, then that means I'm making a mistake. If there is a reason for me to stay in for a long time, then I will probably explain it in the VAR review. So yeah, let's get right into it. So here, this was a Celestial 3 GM1 lobby-ish, and we banned a couple characters because we knew what the enemy team was having. I'm going to use my pin to get out of the spawn immediately so that I can catch up on point, maybe get a head start on who the enemy team is running, what the plan is, etc. And I'm setting myself up to position against the enemy team, assuming that they come in from main. But as soon as I heard the TP, now I have to change my game plan because now my team is being caught off guard, and I'm really far away from my team here. So I'm heading over to my team. We lose 2 people. It's unfortunate. So I try to get a pick here on the Star-Lord by pinning him towards my team. I barely miss him. So again, I just get out, reset cooldowns, grab a health pack, whatever. Right, we lose that first fight. That's perfectly fine. But here, if you did not notice, my Star-Lord was actually forcing them to back up, and we actually have a head start here because we're getting point a little bit ahead of time. So this is going to really delay the enemy team from capping point, even though they are up 2 people, and it gives us the chance to fight back and even surprise them, catch them off guard. So here I do a U-turn on the magic because I recognize the magic is lower HP than the Doctor Strange. So I'm going to really go after her, try to punish her, and look for a kill. And even if I don't kill her, the enemy team is going to be forced to look at the magic and protect her instead of anybody else. Right. The magic uses all of her cooldowns. Now the Strange is isolated because he tried to help the magic. And here, because my Star-Lord, who was my duo at the time, he had stalled the point a little bit longer. Now they haven't capped yet, and I can touch the point with a little bit of time left. I used the Axe form to try and do a little bit of poke damage on the Strange, especially with my Spike Pit. And then I'm going to walk on point with that lunge, just barely get on time before they cap it, which is really important because the longer we delay the capping of the point, the better it is for us, the more likely of a chance we have of winning this fight without them getting, 10%, 20%, 30% charge on the objective. So here I'm just going to use it to stall. I get out of my Axe form so that I can do more damage and look for an opportunity to kill the enemy team. And here we see the Luna Snow is relatively low. I'm obviously not going to go for the tanks because tanks have a lot of HP. It's a 6v6 at this point. I need to focus on squishies, and my Star-Lord also wants to do the exact same thing. So we both call out, hey, go on this Luna in 3, 2, 1, and we kill her instantly. I try to go in this, the Cloak and Dagger right after, and I let my team know, I'm getting off point. You guys, somebody else stay, like the Magneto on my team. And so I try to go after the Cloak here. I miss. Well, actually, I didn't miss, but I didn't get the combo down properly. And we give up the point a little bit, but at this point, because we have killed so many people, it doesn't really matter. And now it's just all cleanup, and that 8%, 10% charge that they got on point does not matter once we cap and won the fight. Even though originally they used the portal trick and killed 2 of us. So that was a really good play from my Star-Lord and I. And I'm at 60% ult charge. Now I'm just keeping up that meter in the middle, making sure it's max charge and preparing for the next fight. So again, I'm setting up relatively close to the enemy team because I'm a melee character, obviously. And I'm trying to look for some opportunities where I can do some poke damage and get out because I'm not going to want them to be full HP all the way up until this point. I want to make sure they have to think twice about walking forwards at any corner of the map. So if ideally I would be up here poking some damage and then backing up to this corner and then poking and doing some damage and backing up to this corner and poking and doing some damage, but it's a lot more risky when I'm, all alone up in the front. So I'm just playing relatively close to where my team is and thinking about the options of how close can I get without, overextending without dying all alone. So here I try to go in again. I just see it. They're all main. It's really hard for me to get an angle. I'm just gonna back up, wait for them to come to me. We're chained here, so I'm not gonna walk, into the enemy team while I'm low HP and chained. And I see the Venom behind us, so I just ignore him and I tell, my team to focus the Venom while I stop the enemy team from pushing up, healing the Venom, shooting anybody the Venom might be shooting, etc. But I'm just gonna delay them as much as I can, because even though the Venom's behind us, I don't have to peel for him when all 5 of my teammates are looking at the Venom, or 4 of my teammates are looking at the Venom, and I'm looking at, 5 people who are looking to shoot me and kill me. So I try to get out. I take as little damage as possible, and I use my spear charge to break this grapple from the Venom with his E ability, or with the shift ability. And so I'm just trying to get out. Right. Back on point. I need to get some healing, but I have that full charge. I'm gonna do some damage again. Do the melee primary cancel, and the Hela on my team decides to ult because she's low HP. So what's the first thing I'm going to look out for? How are they going to shoot down the Hela ult, or how are they going to stop it? They have a Strange, he has a shield, he has the flight ability. So my first instinct is I need to stop this Strange so that my Hela can get as much value out of her ult as possible. And so the moment he flies up, I'm going to pin him out and stop him from flying up into the air again, which means my Hela has the opportunity to, potentially get a kill or just have an easier time shooting at something instead of the shield the entire time. And on top of that, because I'm doing this, I find the opportunity to kill the Strange because I pushed him away from my team. He no longer has a flight ability, and he's really isolated from the enemy team. And again, just instantly going back to out of my axe form and into my flight form, because as soon as I got this kill, I have no reason to be in this axe form anymore, right? So as soon as I get that finishing blow, I'm immediately flying into the air and looking for my next target, my next victim, who can I pin, etc. Here I pin the Punisher. Obviously, he gets out, so I'm not going to stay in for too long. I'm going to grab this health pack. And it's really important to grab as many health packs on Angela as possible because, one, you're very fast. It's really easy for you to reach them. But also, it's kind of a hassle to have your teammates heal you from such a far away distance, especially because you'll be playing, you'll be flying around the map as Angela. It's just really hard to keep track of you as a support. So I'll just alleviate the burden on my supports by grabbing health packs as soon as possible, because I also don't want to wait around getting healed by a rocket, right? I just want the instant 250 HP, whatever it is, and get out. And so here again, backing out again, my team is setting up for the new map change, and I'm just focusing on helping my Starlord get out here. Unfortunately, I didn't stop him fast enough, and my Starlord died. And so now it's all just a matter of stalling the point as long as possible. We use our Luna ult here, so I was hoping I could, live long enough and stop the magic from killing the Luna Snow. Here, the magic is ulting. She's trying to look for a one-shot combo on the Luna, and so I try to pin her away from my team. And by the time I used my ult, they had already all died from the Venom Luna combo. So I wasted my ult here, but I'm just trying to stall as long as possible as I can on the point, just so we can get a little bit extra progression on the point. So as I'm coming back, my first thought process is how do I engage to the enemy backline and to the enemy team, right? I can't exactly sit in front of main and frontline because Angela's not a frontline character, and also they have a lot of ranged options that can just shoot me down before I even get close to them. So my first thought process is which pathing, which route can I take to get to the enemy backline as safe as possible. So here I take this really roundabout way of reaching the Punisher, forcing him out of the turret form, so that my team has an easier time walking up through this choke. And basically I'm just going to be looking for isolated targets again. Here I see the Luna Snow, so I'm going to be looking for her, trying to kill her. After, staging a little bit more. And it happens to be that I was trying to go for the magic, I missed, so I just go for the Punisher instead, try to isolate him. and we try to kill him, but obviously they pop 2 ults for our Starlet ult. It's really hard for me to like do anything to the enemy team. So this is just a flop of a fight. I'm just gonna go next, try to find the next target I can kill or get out, and we're just going to be, you know, living as long as possible. Here I did the axe damage just because I have the option to do it. There's really no need for me to pin for anybody else, and it's good. It's useful for the extra HP. So that's the reason why I went to axe farm here. But now it's just going to be a matter of my starter is dead. How can I wait for my team to regroup while also having some sort of value, getting some ult charge, etc. Right, so here I try to go on the Jeff where my Hela is. Hela dies, so I have to back out. And yeah, it's just really difficult for my team here because we just keep getting staggered one by one. And I can't really make plays by myself if my team is constantly dying. Try to pin the magic, I miss. I try to take a different off angle here so that maybe my team can walk up if I go on their back line. I'm calling this out, you know, I'm walking in 3, 2, 1. I get frozen, so obviously that pin on the Magneto fails. I grab a health pack so my team can just focus on anything else, like the Venom. And I'm just, you know, being a mosquito to the back line, or to the front line even. I pin the Magneto really far in, and if you notice, I do the, I just use the, what's it called? The Assassin's Charge to try and pin him into my team as far as I can, and then I use my Axe Form immediately after so that I can try to get some tick damage and the axe damage onto this Magneto while also building my own shield. And obviously he doesn't die to it, but I'm just trying to do a decent amount of damage while getting ult. As soon as they pop the Luna ult, I get the fuck out. I'm escaping. You know, we're losing. My team had support ults, we just didn't use it for some reason, so all I can do here is stall and hope that my team portals back on time. So yeah, here I find an opening pick on that Punisher, so that's already good for us, because even though the enemy team has an advantage, I managed to kill one of their Punisher, you know, one of their teammates. And now I'm just going to be stalling as best as I can. We popped 2 support ults here as a mistake. But again, I'm just going to come back to point as soon as possible. We portal this, and now it's my job to stall as long as I can so that my team can find picks or bait out their resources, because we obviously don't have the sustain with, you know, the lack of a rocket ult and a Luna ult at the same time. So this is probably my favorite play on Angela, maybe top 2, top 3 plays of Angela I've ever done in my life, but it's just a really good example of how to stall on Angela and really understanding how to extend that over time properly. So, Strange's portaling, I touched the point first just to ensure that nobody C9s. And as soon as I touch point and I see that my Strange jumps in, I'm going to get out immediately. The reason for this is I don't need to stall on the point alongside the Strange, because either way, as long as one body is on point, overtime is going to be not decreasing, right? So I'm basically sacrificing my Stranger because I know he's not going to live for long. He's a Strange against the entire team of 6. I'm an Angela. I can stall far better than him. So it's better that I live for as long as possible so that I can stall for as long as possible. So here I back out immediately. As soon as I see my Strange go in, I'm going to sacrifice him. I'm going to go back to spawn to get full HP instead of waiting for my supports who are still respawning. And I'm going to jump back in as soon as the Strange dies, right? And the timer does not go down at all because as long as one body is on point, it never goes down. I'm going to kite out this Punisher ult and hide behind the pillar for as long as possible. And as soon as I start getting damage pressured out, I'm going to get out of the portal and go back spawn to get healed from my supports and from the spawn room. I use my pin. I use my Assassin's Charge to try and get in and out as soon as possible. And I touch the last second again. All that matters is how long are you stalling the point, not whether you're on it the entire time. You don't need to. You can let the timer go down. As long as you just don't let it go down to 0, you are perfectly fine, right? So here again, I get out and do the exact same thing. I'm, you know, really being ballsy with it. But again, as long as I touch it last second, it doesn't go down to 0%, it's perfectly okay. And I know that, so I just keep, I guess, abusing that fact, quote unquote, or using that knowledge to extend this overtime stall for as long as possible. And also by flying in and out of the portal, it makes it really hard for the enemy team to really shoot me. And also I'm making it easier for my supports to heal me at the same time. So again, just going in and out constantly. One of my teammates were able to touch point as well at that time, and so I go back in after I'm full HP from the spawn room, and this sets up enough time for my Hela to get a 3-piece onto the enemy team. So the rest is just cleaning up on the enemy team. I'm just stalling for as long as possible. As soon as I'm low, I use my shield to block damage, and also use the axe form to try and build a little bit of extra shield. I try to block the Magneto ult, but I missed. It's whatever. And I'm going to use my ult to get a 4-man stun here, just to slow them all down as much as possible. I'm not going to immediately follow up on the ult because I know we still have the capture point, and I'm just kind of ensuring that my team is on point long enough instead of accidentally C9ing. And then I jump onto them, immediately get a couple picks here and there. And I don't swap my axe form for the Punisher because I know with the damage from my axe, I'm able to secure the kill. By swapping to my flying form, it might take a little bit too long for me to kill him. So I'm just trying to go for the short burst kill with my axe rather than the extended animation of flying up into the air and then dropping back down to try and kill the Punisher. And then as soon as the Luna's out of my reach, I just kind of back up. I don't really need to, go to their spawn. I know that they have a portal ready to be used, so I'm not going to go try and cancel it. It's just too difficult for me at the time, especially when all 6 teammates are alive. So I'm just going to play in a position where I can actually deal with the people coming out of the portal. So here, I see the magic is isolated. I try to go after her. I pin her away. I tell my Star-Lord, shoot the magic, shoot the magic. She's unfortunately full HP. And the rest is just me seeing a large group of people, right? I see all 6 of them stacked in one area. I'm going to use my Spike Pit to get AoE damage. I'm going to use my Axe Form for better AoE damage. And also building shield for me and the Cap and whoever else is in the pit. Right, so already I'm building 30% ult charge from this one interaction. I'm stalling point, using my shield to block damage. And then as soon as I hear my Cap ult go off, I'm going to back up towards the Cap as he runs towards me so that we meet in the middle. I get that healing, I get that movement speed, everything to help me stall for a little bit longer with the Cap. Again, I try to pin the magic away from my team. And even though we double supportal, doesn't matter. All I have to do is find an isolated target who's low HP. First it was the Punisher, then it's the Luna all the way in the back who's going to heal the rest of the team. So I'm just going after target. As soon as I, recognize this person is dead or this person is low, who am I going to go after next? And so I try to go after the Luna here. My Star-Lord follows up with me. And from the rest, it's just us cleaning up the last 2 people on point and winning that first point. First round of this game. And then here I'm charging out of spawn for the second round, the second point of Hell 7. And this map is really good for Angela because you're able to pin people off the map. That's a guaranteed kill. You can stop ultimates, you can stop tanks from having a presence on the front line, etc. And so the way I'm routing in this part of the map is I'm basically making it easier for me to pin people off the map and also make it harder for them to see me and also have them worry about an off angle, right? If they see an Angela sitting up here, top right, they're going to be worried about me and also be worried about the people on the front line over here. But if I'm playing all the way over here, I don't have the range to hit the enemy team. It's going to take a lot of resources for me to get near them in the first place as a melee character. And also all the attention is going to be focused down on this single choke point. So it's going to be really hard for me to get past because again, I don't have a lot of survivability and it's going to be really hard for me to reach and deal damage back to the enemy team. So again, I'm just setting myself up for success here by putting myself in the position to pin the people off the map a lot more easily. And I basically scout out to see who can I pin off the map here. So obviously I'm going to choose a Magneto. He's very immobile. He has to use his ult to survive if he does have it. There's not a lot of CC to really stop me from pinning him off the map. And also he's the closest one to the point, to the ledge. So I'm just going to go after him. Obviously I miss, and as soon as I miss, I'm just going to let go of the charge meter, right? There's no need to continue holding it. I'm going to save my resources, cut my losses, and then reset, try to find a different way to approach this battle, and find a new target. And so here, the Bucky, I hear him using his hook, so I try to dodge it. I put my shield up, and then I hear the magic ulting, so I'm going to try and focus on her. And then obviously she disappears from my line of sight. So I'm going to try and get a pick and trade off maybe the Magneto because the magic still has a little bit of time before she reaches my teammates. I missed my pin again. So I'm going to just, again, cut my losses, go back to deal with the magic because if I had killed the Magneto, it would have been fine. But because I did not, now I have to actually go deal with the magic who's putting pressure on my team. So the Jeff actually ults a couple people here. And I have to set the Jeff now, right? He's going to be a threat to my team if I don't stop and deal with him. So here I tried to swap to my axe form to make it a little bit easier for me to deal with him, but I just missed a lot of melees here. This was, oh yeah, this is a pretty bad play for me, to be honest. But I'm chasing after the Jeff, and I punish him, and I try to stall point here as well, because now we've killed both of their supports, but one with my Hela, one with myself, and I'm just gonna get on point, right? And we just clean up here. It doesn't really matter that I gave up the point as long as I cleaned up and got some of the kills, because even if they got 10%, we're going to have longer progress on the point because we killed the entire enemy team. And yeah, so all of this is just cleaned up again. And we're just capturing point, even though a good amount of us died first in that fight. And the way I'm positioning here is pretty much just setting up, waiting for the enemy team to regroup, waiting for my team to regroup. And the reason why I'm not playing a little bit more aggressively, maybe on this corner or on this corner, is just simply due to the fact that these people are all a group of 6, while my team is still coming back from spawn, right? Magneto's coming back. My Luna, Hela, Starlord, they're not in position. The enemy team is. So I'm not going to be, overly greedy, overly aggressive with my plays here, especially when my optimal play positioning would be on the point, somewhere near the point, so that I can pin people off the map or have the ability to do that. Whereas if I played over here, not a lot of escape options, not a lot of line of sight from my teammates, not a lot of options for me to get kills onto the enemy team. So here I'm taking some poke damage so that my supports can build their ult charge a little bit faster. I made this call out to my teammates. And yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of poke damage. Not too much because I already have ult. I don't really need to build more damage. And I'm just trying to live, right? Live and wait for my opportunity to strike at the enemy team. Again, I see the Magneto on point. Who am I going to go for? The Magneto. He's the easiest target for me to hit. And I just try to position myself close as possible. I missed the pin again. I don't know. This game was really hard for me to hit pins on this specific map. But yeah. And as soon as I see the fact that I missed the Magneto pin, I can't do anything about it. But I see a group of people in the back. I'm going to tell my Starlord, hey, get ready to jump in here because I'm going to kill 3 of them. So there's a big 3-man ult. I'm going to slam directly onto them. My Starlord's going to follow up, and we just kill 3 of them in a couple seconds here. I don't swap off my axe form just because I'm in a closed room where I'm close enough to the enemy team. I'm just going to use my basic axe form swings to kill the enemy team and then get out of the situation. And so that's an easy 5-piece from me, just because I quickly changed targets as soon as I found out, hey, I'm not able to get a kill here. Let me find a different way to get a kill. Let me find a different way to get value. And I tell my team here, I'm communicating to my team, break the map so that I can pin people off the map more easily. Right? These barriers, these walls, they're going to be an obstacle for me. So if we break the map, it's easier for me to do what I want to do best on Angela, which is pinning people off the map. And all of this is like foresight. It's me thinking about the next step of the plan. Instead of just sitting on point waiting for the enemy team to come in, I'm thinking about how can I best set up so that I can win the next fight with as little chances of mistakes or, unlucky coincidences happening. Right, so we're just breaking the map, whatever. Now we're just waiting for the enemy team to walk in. Here I'm pressing tab in game to see what the enemy team comp looks like, what else do they have. I'm trying to remember, all these different details so that, again, once the next fight starts or is about to start, I have a little bit of information. Maybe I know that the Luna Snow has ult, so I'm going to try and pin the Luna off before she can use her ult. Or I'm going to think about, okay, since the Luna has ult, I'm not going to pin her. I'm going to pin the people who would want that Luna ult, like the Mantis or the Magneto, right? It doesn't matter if the Luna ults because they're just dead if they're pinned off the map. So I'm just waiting for the enemy team to come in, be in a position where I can pin them. I finally hit the Magneto here, and I use my primary charge knockback to push him off the edge because he was just barely near the edge with my charge, just because the charge meter doesn't actually take people all that far. And now that I've killed their frontline tank, their only tank, I'm just gonna go in from the back line, try to pin people from behind. Obviously, I get slapped there by the Mantis, but I'm just gonna follow up here, right, chase out of the storm, pin her, and secure that kill. And I hear that they're opening portal. I try to get to their portal as soon as possible to try and stun it, but obviously I was a little bit too late, Nothing I can do about it. So all I'm gonna do is get back to my team, try to stall, and then again, I'm gonna look for an opportunity to pin somebody off the map here. Right, all this is constantly me thinking about who can I focus next, who is the easiest target for me. Here, I actually go for the Storm because instead of trying to go for a pin off the map, why not just go for a Storm who's isolated up in the air alone and also low HP, right? One shot, I'm gonna kill her. Now I'm gonna go for a pin off the map, and I got to this range here. Unfortunately, I don't have the primary meter charged up, so I don't have that knockback effect, and so the Strange is able to use his fly ability after he gets dropped into the pit, which is unfortunate, but it's something that is, a good example of this is what you want to be paying attention to. If you're going to pin the Strange off the map, you have to be ready for the fact that he's going to have his fly, or that he might have his fly, and so you need to have a counter. You have to have a contingency plan where you knock back the flight ability and stop him from flying up. And also, if you didn't notice, I actually pinned downwards towards the pit, just so it's easier for me to pin him into the floor instead of having him have the opportunity to fly back up. Because if he hits well, I guess the floor box, the opposite of the sky box, the area of the map that counts as, out of bounds, instant kill, it's going to be easier for me to secure that kill rather than having him just slightly be above it and then, either touch the ledge or just fly out with just barely enough time. Right, so here I literally pin downwards into the pit to try and get him all the way to the end. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to hit that. Again, I see a large group of people. What am I going to do? I recognize the pattern. Oh, they're all in the group. I'm going to use my AoE form, my axe form, do a lot of damage to build that ult charge. So just a lot of ult being built here, right? I'm stalling on point. They use their Mantis Soul, and while I'm frozen, my first thought is, who am I going to focus, and how should I go about it, right? Do I pin the Mantis off the map so that the healing ult does nothing? Do I pin the tanks off the map so that they are unable to take advantage of the healing ult, right? All this is being considered. Here, my best play would probably be to pin the Mantis off the map, just so that her healing ult gets no value. But obviously, you know, I'm not gonna hit this one because of how I haven't hit the other ones. I don't know. Right, it was just really hard for me to get these pins on this map specifically. But I'm gonna use my ult to isolate the enemy team. Either use my shield to block the strange ult, and then use my axe form to kill the Luna, and then the rest is just clean up. Again, enemy team is dead. Here I make an interesting play. I try to go after the Magneto to pin him off the map here after I kill the Luna. And then the Magneto actually dies, but I'm already using my charge. There's really no need for me to cancel my charge, so I'm going to continue using it onto one of the supports because I know the enemy team is spawning coming back from the right side of the map, so I'm going to pin to the right. Immediately I got to the Mantis, try to be a distraction to her, make it hard for her to, heal her team and also deal damage to my team. So I'm just going to be a distraction over here in the back line, force the Jeff to heal the Mantis, and the Strange dies. My team wins the game. Right. And I don't get any of these finishing kills, but it doesn't matter because I stopped two people from doing anything in the last 10 seconds of the game, and that's how I was able to win this game. And even though I didn't get a lot of pins off the map, a lot of gimmick kills, it doesn't matter because everything else during this game was pretty much perfectly done. A lot of really good movement tech, a lot of really good isolation and target priority, right? Based on what resources they have, what resources I have, just the team comp that we are running in general. Focusing on stalling, right? Having really good stalling, movement tech, shield usage, all that. That is what allowed me to get MVP in this game, even though, I wasn't pinning everybody off the map consistently or even doing a lot of damage, right? On my team, I have the least amount of damage among the four main damage characters in the game: Star-Lord, Hela, Magneto. And yeah, that was basically just one example of how I played this game really well. If you want to look at the replay code, you can search it up yourself, either by just checking my account. My account is public, so all the replays are for free, and the replay ID is right over here as well in case you want to look at it. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this guide. If you would like more, I guess, file reviews of myself, of me analyzing my own gameplay and explaining the thought process behind why I make this certain move, why I go for this specific target, etc., Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you want to see. I plan on making more Angela content soon alongside my Penny content. So if you have any questions, just send them down in the comments or check me out on stream. I go live pretty much every day on twitch.tv/FullMetalLamp with no S. And I'm also on YouTube, obviously, with FullMetalLamp with an S. And I'm also live on both Twitch and YouTube. So just check me out on both. And yeah, I guess that's the end of the video. So have a good day.